let's jump right into making an easy, quick, and simple box joint jig. Got a piece of plywood here, miter gauge that came with the saw. I do have a fancier miter gauge over here, but connecting to it would have been much more difficult. If I was going to make something more permanent, I would go that route. I've already installed this once to check it. I have some shims. So when I first put this on and I went to square it, it was leaned back a little bit. So we're just going to add these cards to the top, and I'll show you that in a second. We'll get that on there. So let's first get it screwed on, and we'll show you the next steps. You could clamp this here. I didn't have clamps big enough, so I just kind of held it, and that got me there. So those are started. We'll go ahead and slip our cards, and I'm actually just pushing it down to where that screw is, closing the gap so it's all the way across but not overlapping because we don't want too much. And we'll go ahead and screw this together. Well, best laid plans, right? Put that back up there. So now that we've got it on here, we're going to go ahead. We're square right there, and we are square with the blade. So good on both fronts. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect. What we've got in here is a 1/2 inch dado stack right here. So I already put that in and put it through my zero clearance. Any dado stack will work. And we're going to go ahead and set this one to a 1/2 inch in height. Our next step, safety gear up, and let's cut a slot in this. Okay, we've got our 1/2 inch there now. We're going to go ahead and measure that to make sure. So I'm going to go grab my digital. As you can see, we're right at a 1/2 inch, which is what I planned for. Okay, I'm back. I had some mic issues, so I went ahead and undid this, and we'll start back where we were. So to show you, first of all, we ran this through, cut a hole in it. So now we're going to go ahead and glue in our key, basically, is what we're going to call it. So let's put a little glue on there and a little accelerator and get that glued in. Okay, as you can see, it's sticking out the back here. That's not a big deal as long as it's not sticking out the bottom here, which I sanded it down a little so it's not. So we're good there. Our next step in this process was to bring this in here and go ahead, and I'm just using the old key we used, and we basically set it up against there, and we undid the fence screws from the back on this temporary fence here. We moved it over, and we went ahead and made it exactly one width apart of the key. So this is the other part of this. And then as you can see, we also ran it through. The next part of this, to get this right, we go ahead and we raise this up to just barely over the height of our material. So right there. I'm going to lock in my height, and we're going to show you how we cut this now. It doesn't matter if these are different widths, but typically they would be the same, but it's going to work either way. So we'll go ahead, get our ear protection and everything, and we'll start this up. So we've got it through that piece, and now what we want to do is we got to cut this one. This is our front. What we're going to do is we're going to flip this around so the back is on there, put it on our key, and technically it should line up perfectly with there. We're going to take this next one, our other side, and this is to offset it so that they match up. And now we'll go ahead, we'll clamp this onto here. Now, we could run it like this, but I'm going to take this off just because I don't want to accidentally shave a little off there. Just could happen. And we're going to go ahead and run this one now. So at this point, we've made our two pieces. And if we go ahead, no, it's a... and match them up, they fit perfectly. Now, this doesn't match because this piece was too thin. That would have been a full one, and then there would have been a little, we would have notched out again, but I was using two different size pieces. But you can see they fit. You can see we're a little bit over here and here. Actually, we're dead on this side. So, in this case, once we glue these, we can go ahead and sand these down. As far as fit, I would say these are pretty good, because I can get some glue in there, and that should fill it up, and we should be all set to go. So that is how we've made our simple box joint jig. In our next video, we'll go ahead and we'll use this jig to make a box. So if you want to hit that like and subscribe button, that'll get you any notifications on when that video comes out, and you can see how we actually put this to use. So again, quick, simple jig. Thanks for watching.